Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for March 21st through the 27th, 2022. So before I begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone back this week and welcome anyone who is also new to this community. So if you're new to this community, I will have been talking about the transition of the name for the channel and for my services. So it will become Angelic Wisdom LLC. And this week, you should see a post of 2 logos. I'm going away, so I'm actually doing this the day after my birthday, which is today's Friday. And so I will, if I have emails or anything to catch up on, I'll get to my clients on Monday. And but starting on Monday, I should have this the 2 logos ready to post. I have to figure out how to do the whole polling thing on YouTube, and I'll do it on my Facebook page as well if I think it's possible to do it there, and then I'll try it on my Twitter as well. So look out for that this week. These 2 different logo, the designs are the same, but the coloration is different. So I'll be asking you to choose the one that you feel best embodies or that you like best. And also for this year, since this is actually my 10th year on YouTube, it started in 2012, June, and I'll have to think about June 4th, I think it was the first day I actually posted. I think I recorded, it was a Monday, I recorded and posted on that day. And so I'll be thinking of, hopefully I'll be launching some of the things I've been wanting to do and working towards this year. But in the meantime, this year, my first time promotional angel reading for $103 will be available for this entire year for everyone. So just want to make that clear. I think it'll be simpler that way. And also the daily card messages, I think I'm going to try to relax this weekend, but the first 2 days I may not post unless I feel guided to do so over the weekend. But I just want to make you aware that if you don't see the posting for Monday and Tuesday. Okay, so let's take a deep breath together and really connecting with our heart spaces. And just really allow yourself to be aware of your heart flame and the expansion of your heart flame. It's beautiful pink, light pink and white. And the angels are writing, they're showing me a very large, wide tree. I mean, it's almost like it's a portal more than a tree. But the word they keep writing in front of this is confession. So this means for me that it's very important for us to be open and honest, to confess your heart, to really be honest. Like, I think sometimes we when this comes up for me, I feel like it's because I'm struggling with what I really want to do or what I know is right for me, and I'm struggling between that and what trying to please others or accommodate others' needs. And they keep writing the word space. They want you to give space for your truth in this week. And that really starts with your honesty, confession. I never forget, there was a journal. I kept seeing this Mother Mary, I can't remember which one, but with the medallions. And I kept seeing her like this symbol. I went to a store, a gift shop, and then I walked around the corner and I saw the same um, Mary vision in a bookshop, a card shop. And I bought the book. It was a journal. And I think it was titled, and within there, Confession. and um, and then when I got home, I got a call about a church job in somewhere in the Bronx, and it happened to be on Marion Avenue, and I got the church job for the summer, and and then this journal, became where I began to communicate with Mother Mary, and um, just really get to some deep soul searching. And so I've never forgotten that, and that they put this up now is interesting. Um, and the thing about it was, because they wrote the word sign too, is that, and they're writing the word collaboration right now, that the universe is working with you, they're collaborating with you, and they wrote the word equilibrium. So they're balancing some things out. Um, they're balancing out equations that will orchestrate for you um, outcomes that you have desired. So the first word I saw was manifestation before everything else. So like that day I was being led and I didn't realize it, but it was something I couldn't shake. I was like, once I saw that, and then it just was on my mind, and then I go around the store and I see it, and I thought, well, maybe I should have bought the medallion in the gift shop. And then when I come around, I didn't. I ignored it, and then I come around and then I see it again. And I don't know. I know people have many different associations with Mother Mary, but I've always had this one where she was leading me to my jobs that I had as a teacher, um, and as church musician. She was always leading me to these things, and it's just interesting that I feel like once you really confess with what is really on your heart, you hold the space for what is on your heart, what you truly want. Because sometimes the responsibilities, our obligations, just crowd out our personal space, our sacred space. And we keep calculating with those things in mind. And therefore, our decisions kind of, I want to say, just a little wonky, right? It's like, it's not really the direction. It's not really the purpose you want to pursue, because it's got all this other stuff that's crowding out the voice of your heart. And so in this week, it really feels like this is going to be an opportunity for you to get really clear about what's activating in your heart for you, the purpose that will help you to serve the world in the way that you're truly capable of doing, where you feel most at ease and at home within yourself. This is important that we listen, pay attention to signs like this, of feeling at home, feeling like your talents can flourish and blossom in a particular passion. And it's important because they write the word prosperity, because those signs where you feel that you can blossom here. Now notice we didn't say, because I was thinking comfortable, but that means kind of just settling in. But blossoming meaning to expand, a situation in which you can grow. And that is what the ego is always afraid of, is growth, because it doesn't understand how to function beyond what it knows. The ego cycles, it loops. That's why it keeps us. It feels like we're always, when we're in the ego mindset, it feels like you're missing something. It feels like you're stagnating. You feel frustrated because the ego is scared of what's beyond what it already knows. The ego doesn't have intuition. It can't see. It can't even imagine. The ego has no access to your imagination, which is another form of your intuition. It has no access to possibilities. What it does, and we think it's like doing it on purpose to trigger us, but it works with memories. It splices them, edits them, creates new versions of them, exploits them, um, all because that's all it knows. It can only draw upon what it knows. And when it's afraid, it will create stories of caution, stories of panic, to not out of, it's not trying to manipulate you in terms of it's trying to do harm. I always said the ego's just scared. It's not evil. And some people look at the ego as being this evil because we need a devil, right? People seem to need a devil to take responsibility. You can't you can't do that with an imaginary devil or evil. It's about fear. And if those things exist, it's still at the base of them is their own, as a fear concept. And fear of its survival. So that's another construct of the ego, is survival. So if you think you're doing it because you're surviving, you're not doing it. You're living within the parameters of your ego. So it's when you know that you've crossed that bridge is when you feel like you're risking something. That's the beginning, the bridge to thriving, because you're breaking free. When you're risking, you're risking the ego's parameters. Whatever you feel like that there's something that you're risking, you're risking what is known to you. You're risking what you have, what's comfortable. You're risking those things. But it's the breakthrough moment, because it means that you've opened yourself up to other possibilities. And we have to pay attention to then what the physical body does is it runs energy, adrenaline. And we have to be careful not to interpret it as anxiety or nerves or nervousness, and rather that there's excitement from the universe that you have found your way there. But they collaborate with you when they give you signs, when they inspire you, that this is the kind of help that they can offer, because the choice has to be your own. And this is why they're saying confess. Just say it. Once you get it out, you'll feel good. You'll have to say it, to confess what you really want, to hold space for what you desire is like a risk. And once you say it, you are home free of the constructs of your ego in that moment. You've already stepped across that line. Now, of course, yes, it will keep rearing its tentacles to try to draw you back. But you have to be willing to keep risking yourself for this sacred space, for your own heart's desires. And you'll as the more and more that you do it, you will blossom, you will expand, so that your ego will adapt with you. It's going to keep. But the thing is that when you teach yourself to be the interpreter of the information that is happening within you. So like I said, I think last week, and some people left comments about it, but it's true. I've noticed that, when we get anxious or nervous, that something is about to happen. Like we're about to step into that sacred space. We're about to do something that our heart has been calling us to do. Um, and I've heard like people like mediums or channels, like especially Teresa Caputo, that she gets this anxiety, and I used to get it before doing something, this work. And one day the angels told me, because I was like, okay, it's been an hour. It used to be like all day. The day before I'd be nervous. Then it got down to the day of. As soon as I wake up, I'm nervous. And then it got down to 2 hours before, then an hour before, and then a half hour before. And then one time it just, I was like, oh, okay, I'm good. And then 5 minutes before it started. And that day I was like, come on, what is this? Enough of this. What is this? I'm ready to do this, to do the work with my client. And I got the understanding from them that it wasn't that I'm nervous or fearful. It's they're ramping up the energy that will bring me into the space to receive the information. So do not interpret your anxiety or your nervousness as always being about something to be afraid of. It's really information. And you got to think about it. Vibration is going to affect your nervous system, so that when information is coming through through your senses and your sensory, I don't know what the right word is right now in this moment, but it has to interact with that energy, that frequency, that vibration. And then as it's assimilating, it amplifies itself throughout your nervous system. And what you're witnessing is the processing of information. Sometimes the anxiety could be that we don't allow, or we aren't able to process the frequencies of this information. And a lot of the times that is because we are not doing something. It needs an outlet. So when information comes through, we can't just let it sit there. We can't be afraid. So when we allow our ego to interpret, then we interpret it with fear. We interpret inadequacy, inferiority, and then we hold it in. It's as if we don't breathe. And literally, when you're anxious, you don't really breathe, right? You don't take the deep breath. And so breathing, first of all, they tell you to breathe because what it does, it helps you to move the energy through your body and through your other etheric bodies. So that information is now a part of your software, of your consciousness. And then it's there to be activated through some medium of your choice, whether it's artistic or professional or like a project or a hobby. It needs to go somewhere, and it's come to you to go somewhere in order to be of service. And if you get in the habit of just showing up, and this is what people mean by showing up, if you get in the habit of showing up, that is to say, it's almost the same as this confession, as they keep saying. It's like when you say what it is that is on your heart, and then you do what it is on your heart, then you get used to putting that information to its proper use, and then your body, your interpretation is shifted to something of progress or success, because whatever you're doing is productive, and you feel and you have a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. And over time, you reframe how you receive and process, digest this energy, the download of energy that you receive. So we're all channels. It doesn't mean that you have to do what I do or in ways that other people might do it, but every activity that you perform is an activity of light and is a channel. It's a part of the process of channeling. Whatever you create, whatever you do with your hands, whatever job you do, you are constantly. That's why we need to breathe, because as we're breathing, we're constantly taking in information, and we take it from many dimensions. There's you'll take it from the within the there is consciousness or collective consciousness for the work that you do. I mean, I could just there's worldwide, there's location, there's all of these different, like, sort of newspaper feeds that where our consciousness taps into the various matrices that exist. So you are always taking in information. You're taking in information from the people that are around you with their processing emotion and all that kind of stuff. But you don't have, everything is not meant for you. Just because there's an awareness doesn't mean that it's supposed to take up space. And when you focus on your purpose, then you don't have to feel that anxiety of everything, because you have something that you're focused upon. So there's a way to maneuver it with clear intention, with purpose, that you don't have to take it all in, because that would drive one insane, and we're not supposed to. But if you stagnate, when you sit around and you just worry, then you don't have a purpose, you don't have something you're channeling, the energy's stagnating, so then you're left to take it all in, and then you're having your anxiety is a representation of a circuitry overload, because you're not supposed to be stagnating. You're always supposed to be in the flow of channeling and channeling your gifts and your awareness through a particular project or creative outlet. All right, so this card fell on the floor face up, and I just almost forgot about it, but this is all appropriate even what I'm saying, because the King of Fire, right? And this spiritual leader, this one who inspires, one who has the ability to inspire others, right? And one of the things I like about this, and this just illustrates what I was just saying, I didn't even realize it. This card came up earlier in the week, but you can see the sun, that fire energy, the illumination of his imagination. Because I feel like that the imagination is on that spiritual level, that and then how that inspires or sparks a flame in the heart. So the burning heart is passion. The burning heart is passion. And so you're going to, in this week, notice a correlation between that the mind and the heart. That's one of the, that's the sort of internal technology of this manifestation, that when your heart is inspired and your heart flame is ignited and it blazes with passion. So there's this connection between these two dynamics that happen within us as a part of that is activated in our soul cosmology, that's very important to be aware of. And when those two are lit, you have this sacred space. Your focus, you are then consumed by your own purpose. You're consumed by a particular idea to serve, to help activate others, right? So the role of the King of Fire is that he's someone who has powerful vision that can inspire others, and he may not be the one that does all the the grunt work, but he inspires it, and in a moving way. So this is pure heart influence by pure confidence and trust in one's own creative vision, and that they are stirred by it, like in a most profound way. And be aware that either you may be called to be sort of an ambassador of light in this week, which they were talking to me about earlier. And I was like, what do you mean by but an ambassador? They wrote ambassador, but ambassador of light. And they wrote professional. So it could be that this is a gift, or in your profession, that if you, like, you might be the person who doesn't say much, but you have these ideas. And in this week, take a risk to step outside of that, your comfort zone, and activate. When you actually start channeling your gifts, you are going to feel, this is what, confess. So let go, trust, and see the movement that you can ignite for others when you allow your powerful vision, ideas, and imagination to really play an important role in the lives of others, whether it's in your professional life or your personal life or your community. Your imagination is going to play a very powerful role this week. All right, so we're doing this a little backwards, but okay, so let's take a look at the Archangel. We had this Archangel last week, and this is appropriate because Archangel Samuel helps to eradicate your ego. And so we're learning some really interesting concepts about our ego, so that we can all, because this is the time now I get this sense where that we're all being activated, our ambassadorship to be ambassadors to be ambassadors of light, of the light, right? And we may think that in the world that we're seeing and things as they're unfolding, that we can't do much. There's not much that we can do, but just being yourself, following your passions, listening to your heart, channeling those things, so that if you're feeling an increase of anxiety, figure out where you need to start releasing that energy. What creative projects do you need to pick up that you've been getting? And this is not something that's going to be out of the blue. You've had it. This conversation has been going on in the back of your head, and you keep dismissing it because you don't have the time, or you don't know how to give space to your own voice. When you do this, you will become an ambassador for the light, and you will help to activate others just by being yourself. You don't have to do anything special other than not withhold yourself any longer. And it says, choose harmonious responses, act with wisdom and grace. So this week, the only way you can do that is also by being aware, not being afraid of the information that you receive. Okay? And trust that what you feel. I've been noticing, saying lately, read the room. Meaning be aware of what's unfolding around you. Be aware with compassion what others might need despite what they're displaying. So don't respond to people's egos. Respond with your light. And sometimes you may not need to say something to them, but just that the fact that you're in the vicinity of them or in the room will have an impact on them. You may not be called to address their behavior or whatever's going on with them, but you may be called to step up your light in terms of your imagination and offering those gifts, those ideas, and it might be the healing component for the circumstances that are going on around you. So look for the gifts within yourself to be the automatic resolution that is needed in any given moment. And so therefore to withhold it rather than to share it is going to be crucially important, and it's going to be up to you to learn to be ready to show up and make that impact. All right, let's take a look at the card for the middle of the week. And we have, as I say, it's 3 of water. Okay, yep, it does. So we have the 3 of water, and we just have this one mermaid and these 3 different shells with the pearls in them. And I get almost a feeling, this is typically a card of friendship. And I feel like the pearls, like each one of them is this gift, this potential, right? And maybe in this week you have this, there's a potential for relationships to expand, to grow, and they're writing the word compassion here in front of me. So I feel like they want you, like, we don't see the other 2 people here. We don't see the friends. She's in this card, she's alone. But I feel like this card is about you seeing others as your brother and sisters spiritually, like seeing everyone through the eyes of oneness, that we're all one, we're not separate, and that the compassion that you give, despite what you might think about that person, is like, it's like giving it to yourself. To give that compassion to someone, it's like you're giving it back to yourself. And you might not see it in the moment, but it's like you're paying it forward and it comes back to you at some point. And I also feel like this idea of networking, which they're writing yes. So it's like when you do this, you open up new channels, new opportunities of people who will become a part of your network. Because the thing about it is, it's the feeling I get is you're doing something and that's out of the way, that's not expected, and it's received, your compassion is received, and it's like this person's or these people, their hearts shift, and they open up to you, they see you in a new way, and I feel like a sense of trust, and I just feel like somehow it's going to benefit you. And I don't want us to think about doing things in order to get things from people. But it's really important to know that when you can do that work of of understanding others when they don't even understand themselves, and even when you don't understand, but you try your best and you offer that compassion. They just wrote the word solve, and they're telling me you're just going to create a solution for yourself out of this. But the work is also important. This is an important work of light, to start understanding one another despite the ego displays. Remember, the ego is really in a crisis right now because it doesn't know what to do, as your higher self, I am presence, is fully embodying your physical experience, and it's feeling very threatened. And so, of course, all the things that we're seeing in the world is just a sign that we're getting close to the big breakthrough in our ego that will shift us into a world of compassion and eventually a world of peace, harmony, right? So there's an important role here, that your compassion, your attempt to understand, to be understanding, to see the person through a different lens, not from your own, but through theirs, in a way that they don't understand themselves or can't do for themselves will mirror back for you. It will help you within your own self. And that once that mirror is reflected between that connection, something opens up for you and for them, and it will benefit you in terms of where you're trying to go in your particular, in whatever direction, a project. You're going to gain support and trust. All right, so let's take a look at the card Six of Earth, and this is just appropriate here because it's kind of what I was just describing, right? This balance. Remember they're talking about the equilibrium earlier. So this balance, it's just going to be so crucial this week for you to be yourself. They're writing the word confession again. It's about being honest about what's in your heart, expressing what your truth. And this does not mean you get to say whatever you want. Love directs you, not you being. So there's a difference when people think, well, I'm just, I'm a person, I just tell the truth. I just say it, call it, blah, blah, that whole spiel. And you know how those of us who are sensitive don't, we don't need that, right? So, but for me, when I do say something that for me to a client, or any of my friends that I feel might be a little harsh, the thing is, it's not coming out of, I'm really tired of this. I'm just like, I feel I feel the love more strongly in that moment, so that when I say it, it is appropriate, not through myself, but through source. It is appropriate. It is what that person needs. And so never forget, when they say confess, speak your truth, it still has to come through that channel of profound, deep love. There is no piece of it. It's always the full impact of love, that if you have to say something to someone that might, to your mind, your ego be like, you're going to create a catastrophe. You can't do that without that fullness of love. Is completely whole, has to feel completely whole to you. You'll know it. And so in this week, in doing this is going to endear you in some way. And it is going to open up something so that there's an equal exchange of giving and receiving. I mean, again, this card also, that paying it forward is going to come back to you. I said that earlier, and I think this is what this card represents as well. And following your heart will also do this for you, even if you don't find yourself interacting with other people. But following your heart, confessing what's on your heart, and following that will bring back to you the rewards, the opportunities. You'll trigger the laws of attraction, and you'll trigger manifestation of the words that I'm seeing. And they wrote the word investment. So I don't know if investment's coming back to you, or whatever you invest, you will get some type of an investment back from what you give sincerely and what you express and or confess. Honestly, you show up. When you do that, when you confess this, what's on your heart, and you give space, that's showing up. And the universe will show up and show back to you. Weird expression, but I have to say it that way. I can't feel it any other way. Okay, so all right, let's take a look at the card for I already pulled from the bottom of the deck, and it's the Judgment card, and it's here titled Call. So this week, this is telling me, because this is the only major arcana card here. So you're feeling a call. Your heart is feeling called. This is where your focus is this week. You're being called to manifest something. You're being called to activate something. You're being called to inspire. You're being called to lead. You're being called to make an impact. You're being called to change, to make an impression. You're being called. You're being called, they're writing the word character, and I'm just saying the things that I'm seeing. You're being called to represent the light in your own character. In this way, you are an ambassador of the light. And they write the word concession. And for many of us, we just haven't been able to concede to our call, to our calling, because we're afraid of taking the risks. But we understand the soul technology of what our anxieties or our nervousness, is just adrenaline, and it's been activated. Your nervous system has been activated by the energy, the vibration, because information source, the angels speak to us on that level of vibration, and that's what we feel when they're impacting us, is that. And so we have to learn to reinterpret that and not let it get in the way of fulfilling our purpose. To just keep writing the words manifestation right now and confession. And once you open up your heart and give sacred space, the manifestation will literally almost be automatic. But you'll start to feel that there are signs that are just leading you towards manifesting something. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful, beautiful week. God bless you.